Beginning, the outcast from the stars. When the first wave of alien refugees arrived on Earth, the world didn't know what to call them. Visitors, species migrants, even cosmic strays. But the name that stuck, whispered in fear and disdain, was strangers. They came in peace, or so the United Terran Authority claimed. After a galactic civil war tore apart their home system, the surviving Illyri people sought refuge among us. They were beautiful, in a haunting way, tall, luminous-skinned, eyes that shimmered like starlight underwater. But the same traits that made them fascinating also made them targets. The colonies set aside for them were heavily patrolled. Humans were warned not to interact too closely. The media spun rumors, disease, mind control, interbreeding, anything to keep the masses afraid. That's when I met Liraya. I was a volunteer engineer assigned to Habitat Ring 3, a converted mining complex orbiting Titan. My job was to help stabilize the Illyri atmospheric processes so their biology could adapt to human standard oxygen ratios. It was lonely work, quiet, far from Earth's noise. She was one of the adjusted Illyri, the ones who'd undergone genetic modulation to breathe our air. It made her different, even among her own people. Some of the other Illyri whispered that she'd tainted her bloodline. Humans, on the other hand, just looked at her like she was a failed experiment. I remember the first time she spoke to me. "You shouldn't stare at me like that," she said, her voice like a flute through static. I looked away, embarrassed. "Sorry. I was just the way your hands glow when you calibrate the vents, it's beautiful." She tilted her head, curious. "You see beauty in what others call mutation?" "I see precision," I said. "And courage. That's beautiful to me." Liraya smiled then, small, cautious, but real. That was the first time she ever smiled at a human. Over the weeks, I found excuses to work near her station. We spoke during maintenance cycles, sharing stories about Earth and her destroyed homeworld, Velize. She missed the sound of rain, something she'd never seen but had heard in ancient recordings. I promised to show her rain one day. But word spread fast among the crew. The humans infatuated with the stranger. They said it like a disease. I didn't care. Not then. Middle, the scars of difference. Titan Station was supposed to be a symbol of unity. Instead, it was a breeding ground for cruelty. The Illyri were given menial work, denied proper quarters, and paid in rations rather than credits. When one of the human technicians, Varin, decided to test how much pain an Illyri could feel, Liraya was his target. He burned her hand with a plasma torch, said he wanted to see if the blue ones bleed red. I found her afterward in the med bay, silent, her glowing skin blackened at the fingertips. When I reported Varin, my supervisor laughed. "You think anyone's going to punish a human for defending himself from a genetic freak?" That's when something inside me changed. The next day, I walked into the common hall full of crew, Illyri and humans alike, and sat down next to her in full view of everyone. She looked at me, alarmed. "Ethan, what are you doing?" "I'm eating," I said. "With my friend." The hall went quiet. Forks clattered. Someone muttered, "He's lost it." But I didn't care. I wanted the world to see what they feared and realize it wasn't monstrous. It was human. After that, Liraya and I grew closer. I helped her repair her personal console, and she taught me about Illyri language, how emotions could be sung, how truth had tones rather than words. She said my name once in her native speech. It sounded like wind through light. "You trust too easily," she warned. "Humans destroy what they fear. They will destroy you for standing beside me." I smiled. "Then let them try. But the universe has a way of testing promises." The incident, fire on the ring. It happened 3 months later. A reactor malfunction triggered a containment breach in Habitat Section 12, the area where most Illyri were housed. Alarms blared through the titanium corridors. Humans rushed to safety pods while the Illyri were locked behind containment doors for quarantine. I ran to the console and slammed the override. The system denied access, genetic restriction, human personnel only. It was deliberate. The Illyri were being left to die. Liraya's voice crackled through my comm ether. We can't get out the heat. I bypassed the locks manually, sparks slicing across my gloves. When the doors finally gave way, firestorm light flooded the corridor. I saw her, carrying 2 Illyri children, her skin blistering from radiation burns. Put them down, I shouted. They're too heavy. Her voice was ragged. Not leaving them. I grabbed her arm, pulling her through the smoke. The hallway collapsed behind us. By the time we reached the escape pods, my uniform was scorched, her luminescent veins dimming. The last thing she said before blacking out was, "You kept your promise. You showed me the rain of fire. After the fire, love in exile." She survived. Barely. The burns left faint scars, shimmering silver against her pale skin. But the others weren't so lucky. 52 Illyri died that day. The authority blamed them. Said they tampered with the reactor in rebellion. Varin, the man who once burned her, testified against them. And me. I testified for her. I told the tribunal what I saw, that the reactor was sabotaged from the human side to erase evidence of illegal energy harvesting. My words were dismissed as emotionally compromised. But I didn't care. I quit. Took her with me when no one was looking. We fled to the outer colonies, where law was thin and prejudice thinner. There, amid junkyards and low-orbit habitats, we built a life. I used my engineering skills to repair mining bots. She used her luminous touch to heal radiation sickness in settlers. People began to respect her. One evening, under the dim glow of Jupiter's moons, I asked, "What would you do if you could go back?" She smiled faintly. To Velize. Nothing remains. The past is a wound that must not reopen. But you, she touched my hand gently, you make exile feel like home. That night, in a small ceremony among outcasts, we bound ourselves in both human and Illyri vows. Her people's ritual involved sharing breath, a mingling of life forces. When our lips met, light spilled from her eyes, and for the first time in my life, I felt her heartbeat, slow, radiant, eternal. We were married. And for a brief, perfect moment, I believed peace had found us. The return of the mockers. Peace never lasts. Years later, the United Terran Authority found us. Not because they cared, but because they wanted her. You see, the radiation that once scarred Liraya had changed her at a molecular level. Her body could now synthesize energy more efficiently than any reactor crystal. The Illyri called it starlight purity. To the authority, that made her a weapon. A squad of soldiers arrived under resource retrieval orders. They called her it. They called me the alien's pet. When they tried to take her, she stood tall, eyes burning blue-white. "You call yourselves evolved," she said, "but you still fear what shines." The commander sneered. "Your property, nothing more." That's when I stepped between them. "She's my wife," I said. "And you'll have to kill me first."